what is the hardest part that isn't technology related of founding as an engineer?
I was talking with Ronen, the CTO, Omri, the CEO, and then there was some day that we got the idea of doing something. Down the road, it was called a fractional GPU, which is one of the features of the Run AI platform.
Do you regret not going into a career in music?
No, I don't regret that because one day I'm going to do that. Started coding in a very early age. I remember me sitting in front of my computer at the age of 13.
Welcome to another episode of IsraelTech. I'm excited to have here Raz Rotenberg, the co-founder and CEO of Fabrix. Before we begin, though, let me tell you a little about IsraelTech and what we're doing. Well, you probably know because that's why you're here. But we're working to democratize the Israeli tech ecosystem by reaching as many people that usually aren't elevated and highlighted. There's a lot of great things going on in the tech ecosystem, and we're bringing it to you, where you like to spend your time the most, on new media. We're on 10 platforms, including a Ball and newsletter. If you haven't yet, followed, subscribed to our newsletter, and also give us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple, then I don't know what you're waiting for. Let's help spread the message and make a difference now. And talking about making a difference, Raz, happy to have you here.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So first, what's actually what I found really interesting, I just kind of want to jump into your engineering background, that you were the founding engineer of Run AI. And what is it like to be a founding engineer? I mean, looking on LinkedIn, people talk about profiles. People usually don't talk about founding engineer. When you think about an engineer or senior engineer, things come to mind. But the founding engineer, I feel like it's a lot more building a company, building a team, building processes is probably much different than, let's say, if you have joined as the leading engineer maybe a year or two into an organization.
Yeah, I think it is different. And I think that being a founder engineer, it means two things. First of all, you are an engineer, right? You have to build a system from scratch. Most importantly, you are a founding team member. So essentially, when you join the company, there's not a lot. There's a vision, there's the people there, and you have to be there. You have to write the code, you have to build the architecture, you have to make so many micro decisions that will affect the future of the company. But more importantly, you bring this emotion and everything that comes with you to the day-to-day. The way that you wake up, your attitude, your DNA, this is what the company is going to be built on top of. And you have to be there. You have to be there through the highs, the lows of the company. And so I think it is different than just being a senior engineer because it's not only the technological aspects.
Yeah. So what is the hardest part that isn't technology related of founding as an engineer?
Getting the no's.
The no's?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like running it in a POV, working 14 to 16 hours a day, then just figuring out that the company didn't get the deal. Because this happens, right? But when you're in a more mature company, these things probably happen less, or they're more, or they're farther from you. But being a founding engineer, you get to see, you sit in a front row, right? Into whatever happens to the company, both the good and the bad. So it takes you through the lows and the highs. So essentially you put everything you have every single day into this company and you approach the reality in a way that down the road, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, people would not be the same.
I feel like when you get rejected from a proof of concept it's personal, right? Far more than an enterprise or even a more established startup or, an engineer that joined, you built the entire thing all the way. And then and you tried it out. They're nope, not good enough.
I still remember the names of the companies that rejected our POC back at Run AI. So whenever I see whenever I see their logos somewhere, when I'm walking in New York City or somewhere or on the web. I don't know. I don't want to name them because they're very good logos, but we got better logos down the road. So.
Yeah, well, definitely, especially the acquisition from NVIDIA, which we'll probably discuss in a minute. Listen, it's interesting about the rejection. It still sits with you. I know what that's like.
I don't like to lose.
No, good. No one does, and one shouldn't. I think that's really what's unique about our ecosystem is the rejection. Do you find it was because they didn't understand the product, didn't understand the technology? Is it a personality issue? Is it what is it you think that you were rejected for? I'm just maybe other engineers and people that are developing things can kind of maybe keep that in mind. Before we continue, let me tell you about our partner, Deel. As you know, I'm an entrepreneur. One of the hardest parts of being an entrepreneur is hiring the talent that you need, onboarding them, getting them the equipment that they need, and getting them paid. It's annoying. Compliance is difficult, and there's a lot of different laws in different markets. And most HR platforms, they're difficult to use. Deel is different. It's perfect for founders and startups like me, and grows with you as you scale. Imagine HR, IT, and payroll, all in one place, easy to use, and AI native. They take care of compliance, so you can focus on your business. And you'll like using it. Go ahead and see for yourself. Visit our partner at deel.com/IsraelTech. That's DEEL.com/IsraelTech. And now, back to the show.
So I'm sure that every story and every company is different and is facing different challenges. The main challenges of Run AI were that the company was very early when AI was even a thing, right? We started back in early 2018. AI was very different than what it is today. So it was sort of like a market education thing. So it's not that the technology didn't work. To be honest, the technology worked very good. It's just that the value proposition was not clear enough. Entering proof of values, not really knowing what to expect down the road, what should happen, and where the ROI sits for the other side, right? So I think this was the main challenge in the first couple of years.
What advice would you give in general to a founding engineer?
Be strong. It's gonna be emotional.
Emotional, huh?
Yeah, but there are a lot of lows, but there are gonna be a lot of highs as well. Just stick to it. If you trust the founders, if you trust the people that you come every day and share the room with, just stick to it, and you'll see that good things will happen.
Can you share one of your highs? Specifically as an engineer, not necessarily as a senior member of the company.
Oh yeah, I remember a very single thing. So I remember that 1.5 years down the road of Run AI, I remember going to Ronen, the CTO. I remember having a very honest conversation about the technology works, but we're not sure where the value is. And if we were to start over, we probably would have done different things. So on the technological aspect, we pivoted very strongly. And I remember that during that pivot, we were talking a lot. I was talking with Ronen, the CTO, Omri, the CEO. And then there was some day that we got the idea of doing something. Down the road, it was called a fractional GPU, which is one of the features of the Run AI platform. I remember doing a POC on my laptop, and in the evening, I think it was 8-9 p.m. It just worked, the proof of value, the technological one. And I called Ronen and Omri, and I told them hey, you have to see this. I think it's very cool. And they were like, oh my God, this is amazing. We have to get that to market. And this was the spark and the seed that led one of the main features of the company. So this is definitely was one of the highs.
So what is it like to be, for people that don't know, they do if they follow, be acquired by NVIDIA? What's the process like? People think just, the world's biggest company, at least by market cap, leading in AI. You can't even explain how important that they are to civilization. How are you approached? Were you guys looking for buyers? They put out bids? Were you guys approached privately? Was there a connection made?
There was a long, a multi-year relationship with NVIDIA. So we worked together on projects, and we had mutual customers. They purchased the hardware from NVIDIA, then they needed some software to run on top of it, so they used Run AI for it. So we were in communication with the NVIDIA guys for a bunch of time, both on the go-to-market side, product side, and engineering side. Now, I'm sure that every company's acquisition looks differently. The Run AI one, I think it was amazing because it came through a very natural and honest and concrete partnership between both companies, NVIDIA and Run AI. It was like a win-win. They introduced us to customers. We provided very good software to run on top of their hardware. And then probably one thing led to another, and the company was acquired. And from what I understand, so everybody that worked for a startup one day, they know that startup is a chaotic thing, and they imagine that a corporate, like a larger company, is calmer, everything is organized, and it probably is true for some of the large companies, but NVIDIA is, to be honest, is like actually a startup of 30,000 people. They work as a startup. This is what's unique about them, and they're very proud of themselves being a very large startup. So the acquisition itself also happened like a startup acquires a startup. It took a while. There were a lot of conversation, but probably the decision was happened very quickly, because once the CEO wants it, he just, whatever he wants, this is what happens at NVIDIA. This is what I understand.
Mm-hmm. How did you guys enter partnership with NVIDIA in the beginning? You said you already had a natural partnership for a few years.
Yeah, so at Run AI, there was a strong go-to-market function. So they built a lot of relationships with hardware providers, resellers, and then eventually working together with NVIDIA, the guys from Israel, as well as the guys from the US. I know that Omri, our CEO, and Yoel, she led go-to-market at Run AI. They worked closely, so they introduced us to customers. I know that there were some events that they invited Run AI to speak, etc. And if I understand correctly, if I remember correctly, I think NVIDIA also heard about Run AI from their customers. So their customers said, hey, we're using Run AI for orchestrating our workloads. So this strengthened their relationships.
Amazing. And so how does it happen? Do you guys ask NVIDIA, hey, what do you guys think about acquiring us? Or they come to you? Or like, how do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know the behind, like I don't know a lot about what happened behind the scenes, but I don't think that Run AI asked for being acquired. The company had a great potential, and I think that NVIDIA approached Run AI. I say that based on multiple conversations that I was part of, and I remember that NVIDIA started using Run AI more and more in terms of their customers approached NVIDIA asking for solutions in the software area. And then they always said, go to Run AI, use Run AI. So one thing led to another, and then NVIDIA just said, hey, we probably should rely solely on Run AI and just have that in place. And I think that the Run AI founders, Omri and Ronen, saw this opportunity where they can actually build their vision as part of NVIDIA and not only next to NVIDIA. So I think this is what happened there.
So when did you decide to leave? Or was there not room in the acquisition? Was there redundancy? How does it work when you're acquired by such a massive organization and who have a huge presence here in Israel? What is that like?
Yeah, so I remember that time. So after 5 years approximately at Run AI, I started thinking about what's next for me on a personal level. And I always knew that the next thing would be to start my own company. This is also why I wanted to join a very small startup, what led me to join Run AI, because I wanted to see how a company is built from day one all the way to like success. So after approximately 5 and something years there, I started talking with people, started talking with Ophir, my current co-founder, and we started working on ideas.
How do you know him?
We met in the military service. The Prime Minister's office is where we met.
That's cool.
Yeah, we spent a couple of years working together. Like
what were you doing?
We were doing some low-level programming, cyber stuff.
The way you smirk doesn't sound so low-level.
Yeah. We worked on amazing projects, things that I'm very proud of, amazing technologies, things that I, like, of course, can talk about, but like everybody that was part of the military groups, like Unit 8200 and their friends, knows what I'm talking about. So.
Very interesting. And were you always into software, like in high school before you went to the Army?
I started coding in a very early age. I remember me sitting like in front of my computer at the age of 13, writing HTML. I'm not even sure that CSS, then JavaScript.
How'd you get into it though? Like, did you have a parent? Did you have a friend?
Yeah, like
because I'm thinking what I was doing at 13. You were doing at 13. We have a very different upbringing.
Yeah, so I think it's my father. My father is a programmer as well. He always talked to me about programming, and not only about like the technical aspect of programming, also about like how programming is sort of like an art form. So my father got into programming because he liked animation. And animation is a lot of programming behind the scenes. Like the more advanced you get to animation, you can write scripts for the animation. Essentially, like if you take it one step further, you can just write code. So this is what led him to programming. So ever since I was a child, I saw him programming at home. And I also have an older brother that like he's very inspirational to me. So he started programming. So I also started programming. Then he went to college. During high school, I did the same thing. So I guess our house was around programming, you can say.
That's cool. So what rekindled your relationship with like your old friend back when you were working in the army at the prime minister's office? Were you in touch the whole time? Like, and then like, you know what I mean? Did he approach you? It's just interesting because this is a common theme. It's like, oh, from the army. And then they're not working together for several years. And then they start a startup together. So it's like, how do you know what they're working on? Like, and how do you exchange ideas? And how does that come about?
So our story, I think is like a very common story. Like we had a great time working together at the Prime Minister's office. Like we realized that we think the same, like we behave the same way, but we think differently, which is great because collaborating, you can reach a lot of things while collaborating with people that think different than you.
Yeah.
But you have this level of communication that is just perfect. So ever since I left the Prime Minister's office, I knew that one day I'm going to work together with this guy as well, like once again. And then I went to Run AI after a very brief period that I thought about becoming a musician. But I even like tried to recruit him to Run AI. I got him to meet Ronen, the CTO, Omri, everyone, because I really wanted to work with him, right? Eventually, he wanted to stick to cybersecurity, so he didn't want to join Run AI. But as I mentioned before, after being there for 5 years, I knew that I wanted to start a company. We were just starting to talk. I knew that all the time, all these years, I knew that when that day comes, this is the person I'm going to do it with. So we started talking, started thinking of ideas. We wanted to combine AI and cybersecurity. And only a few weeks after that, this is where I realized that Run AI is going to be acquired by NVIDIA. So I had like a couple or maybe 3 weeks that I was quite confused, but I talked to many of my closest, like people that are closest to me, Dina, my partner, Ronen from Run AI, other friends that are from the industry, family members, obviously. And then like I made the decision that this is what I want to do in my life. This is who I want to work with. This is my opportunity, and this is the right timing, regardless of what's going to happen with Run AI.
Oh, fascinating. So you mentioned cyber and AI. Is there such a thing as just a pure cyber company anymore without AI at its core, or is every cyber company actually first an AI company?
Is there any company that doesn't have AI? Like
no, but at its core. The question is a cyber company really an AI company with cyber layered on top, or is it a cyber company with AI layered on top?
Yeah, so I believe that there is a huge difference, to be honest.
Okay.
We're building an AI company with cyber on top, you can say. And I think there are cyber companies without AI, like without a lot of AI on top of it. But I believe that the world is going to AI, and this is what we looked for. We looked for the right place within cybersecurity where AI could be very significant.
Before we continue, let me tell you about our partners, The Recruitery. The Recruitery places go-to-market talent for early and growth stage cybersecurity companies. The Recruitery specializes in recruiting and retaining top talent in global markets. If you're looking for a recruitment company to help your cybersecurity company close cultural gaps and find great talent on the ground that can help you scale, we recommend you also partnering with our partner, The Recruitery. And now, back to the show. Do you think there's like unique opportunity? Do you think you can solve more issues, or do you think that identity wasn't addressed?
So identity was addressed. Identity has been a challenge for decades. But the thing, from what I learned, when you start a company, it's either an old problem, new solution, or a new problem that requires a solution. So in our case, this is an old problem, new solution. So over the last 2, maybe 3, maybe even more decades, people have struggled with identity security.
Yeah.
They tried a lot of things, and we were talking to a lot of CISOs looking for the right place within cybersecurity where AI could be very significant. And it took us not a long time to understand that identity security is still based on a lot of decisions that are done by humans that at the time of the decisions, they just don't have a lot of information and they just sort of like guess. And this is exactly where AI is very strong, right? Pulling information from multiple sources, reasoning over them, creating a single coherent story, bringing all the context you can, and make smart recommendations, essentially to improve the process. So it's not that identity security didn't have enough tools, but even with the most modern tools, organizations still struggled with identity security because a lot of the work happened outside of the tools, within the minds of the humans.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So like, when you think of, actually, why don't you tell us what your company does before we further confuse people? We get more into identity management.
Yeah, happy to. So at the end of the day, we're bringing AI to identity security. So we're building what eventually will become this sort of like artificial brain that is responsible for every access and permission within the organization. So what happens today is you have a lot of people that are frequently faced with access-related decisions. For example, requesting access, reviewing access, recertificating access, defining permission set, etc. When that time comes, they need to answer a lot of questions. For example, who is this person? What access is she asking for? What's her job title? What is she actually trying to do? Can she do the same thing with less permissions? What about her peers? A lot of questions. And to answer those questions, people need to go to so many systems because the information is scattered, right? Their job title is in the HR system. The group membership is the identity provider. The permissions themselves are defined within the system. And the meaning of the permissions are defined in the documentation of that product, right? So essentially what people actually do is most of the time they just don't do that. They just guess or automatically approve. Or if they do that, it takes a lot of time.
Right.
And during that time, the other person on the other side of the access request, they're waiting because they just want to get the job done, right? So essentially this creates two things. One of them is like the tension between security and the business. And the second thing is you take processes that were put there in the first place to reduce risk, and they essentially create more risk because things just get improved, right? And you would think that it happens only for security people, but that is not true. It happens also to IT people, managers of business applications like CRM, etc., managers of employees.
Right.
So this is what people struggle to do, what we call consistently and at scale. And fortunately, this is exactly what AI agents are very good at, right? Pulling information from multiple sources, going over them, understanding the context, and making smart recommendations, right? So this is why we're building AI agents that are specialized for every single process in identity security. For example, lifecycle management, people joining and leaving the organization, access request, access recertification, role engineering. And these AI agents, they can work with or without a human in the loop, and they integrate with the current existing processes of the organizations, and they are the ones that handle the heavy load of identity security, essentially bringing all the context and fixing this information gap, making smart recommendations so people could make more informed decisions much faster.
Are they doing it automatically, or does it just make a recommendation that a human needs to do, grant this amount of access to this person?
So most of the time we start by like them making all the read-only recommendations, because it takes time.
Oh, for them to trust.
Exactly,
Yeah,
for
I can see
organization to gain the trust of the system. Once we get a certain level of trust, we start making some of the agents more autonomous within some of their aspects of identity security.
Do you have like different clients that have been like, I trust it, I don't need to get used to it, and just like, turn it all the way on? Are there other, it's like, I'm just curious how that works, or is like, this is our process no matter how much you're trusting of our technology or not?
Exactly, that's a very good point. So one thing that I learned is that people don't like change.
Yeah, no shit.
Right. So they have the way that they work today, and they say, we really like what you're doing, but it has to happen the way that we work.
Right.
Don't make us change our processes.
Right.
So the very first day we just integrate exactly.
Are your first clients Israeli?
Yeah, the very first
Exactly,
one
yes.
were Israelis.
If you can overcome them, you can overcome anything.
Yeah.
They say the Frank Sinatra song is like in New York. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. I feel like that's when it comes to selling. If you can work with Israelis, you can work with anyone. Like it's one of the secret weapons I think that we have here.
This is why the ecosystem here is very strong and important, right?
Go on. What do you mean?
I mean, like geographically, look, we're sitting right here in Tel Aviv, and like 1 kilometer from here in every direction, you have probably like 1,000 different companies.
Right.
Right. Everybody knows everyone.
Right.
Everybody grew on the same like principles of engineering, go-to-market, marketing,
Right.
product management, etc. So we are like, I love to see like the ecosystem here in Tel Aviv as this sort of like a superpower.
Right.
Like in music, they call it a supergroup. Right. So this is like a supergroup of talent that is very condensed.
Right.
Right. There is a book by the Netflix CEO. He talks about talent density. He talks about talent density within companies, but if you were looking at like cities, like San Francisco, New York, Tel Aviv, look at the talent density in Tel Aviv. I guess it's probably number one in the world.
Right. It's amazing that, ironically, there's a huge strength of being ridiculously small geographically.
Yeah.
That everyone lives on top of each other. Everyone's related. Everyone, you're a short drive from everywhere. You know, we don't fly to anywhere in Israel. It's always funny.
We just bike there.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And actually, for those that, let's say, live in America or a much larger country, one of the most interesting cultural things when I moved here was like, in America, it's totally normal. Oh, your friend's flying in. Oh, it's a 2.5-hour drive to pick him up at the airport each way. Okay. Here, it's like 20 minutes. It's like the end of the world.
I remember talking to people from Dallas. I was telling them like, hey, I have another friend in Dallas. And they were like, he's probably 145 minutes away from
Right, exactly.
And like during that time here, you cover probably 1/3 of
the country. I mean, that's just go north to south, east to west. You cover the country a few times over. And then the other thing was... not to say like when people give directions here, they've been like the sof all to the end, sofa and I'll make a left. When I'm asking for like walking, and it's like a block and a half, and I'm like, man, I gotta get a bus. This is like a few miles down.
Yeah, I was just in New York City. I met like a colleague. They came to a restaurant in the city, and they told us like, yeah, we were just driving for 1 hour and 30 minutes, and like we were like, we never do that in Israel. Like if you have to drive that far, you just don't go, right? And they were like, we do that like every single day.
All the time, right? And I come from Pardes Khan, I still take the train, and I have a car that it's very comfortable and all that. Autonomous driving is going to solve a lot of these things. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, me too.
You said, you mentioned music twice now.
Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, so you almost went into a career in music. Do you regret not going into a career in music?
No, I don't regret that because like one day I'm going to do that. That's for sure.
It's your love.
It is my love. I think it gives me a lot of inspiration. Like listening to music, you have music for every kind of mood you are in. And I think that music is the best art form. It's probably the oldest one. It's probably gonna stick here forever. I love that, and I find a lot of similarities between music and what we're doing.
Well, how?
Because first of all, you have so many genres, right? And let me give you an example. A lot of people talk about the Beatles, right? So they say, okay, like there are people that say that the Beatles are amazing, and then there are people that say that the Beatles are just like, what's exciting about them? It sounds like everybody else.
Right.
But I also love putting things into context.
Acid.
Exactly. Yeah, Lucy in the Sky with Diamond.
Exactly.
Right? Like talking into context, you have to take into consideration when you assess something, like everything that happened by people, you have to take into consideration like what happened in history right before that, right? Like who did the same thing at the same exact time?
Right.
Like how did they come up with those ideas?
Right.
So the very same things happen in software or like in the industry in general, right? So who's the first one to come up with an idea? Think about the iPhone.
Right.
Like if you were to invent the iPhone 10 years before that, you just were off because there was no internet and Wi-Fi, right?
Right.
That's one thing. So everything you have to put into context. So same for art. music in
By
particular.
the way, they did have that. It was called the iPod, in a sense, right? It
Yeah,
was
the iPod Touch.
Right, the iPod Touch. I remember getting.
I loved it.
Yeah, so it is everything but the Wi-Fi, but that. And I think it might add maybe even GPS then.
Yeah,
Not
probably.
yet Bluetooth. I remember that I had yeah. So I mean,
I had one, and I still have an
so you
iPod.
can say it was like the iPhone without the phone and those the
Exactly.
technology features.
But you have to do the right thing at the right place, and I'm a strong believer that less is more.
Uh-huh. So as a musician, I was curious, nothing to do with tech. Is rock dead because the right thing at the right place? All the new music, there's no rock anymore. I feel like it's a thing of the past.
That's a very good question. To be honest, I'm very loyal in the music that I listen to. I've been listening.
Did I just
to the
offend you?
same, yeah. I've been listening to the same band.
What do you listen to? What are your favorite bands? Would you grow up on?
Chili Peppers, Bob Dylan, Beatles. I really love jazz. I've been into jazz for the last 5 years probably.
How'd you get into jazz?
Radiohead. How'd I get into jazz? I was a drummer. I played like rock songs.
Right.
And then I realized that jazz might seem quieter. Like you have tunes in jazz that are very, very quiet and calm, but the amount of complexity behind them, the rhythm is just amazing.
It's like calm chaos in a way.
It's a calm chaos, yeah. Also like playing
It's
drums.
like living in Israel.
It's
just like
I wouldn't
jazz.
say it's calm. I would say Israel is a chaos.
Yeah,
right?
chaos.
Yeah.
But there's a level of everything's okay. Even
Here
though it's
in
not.
this room, everything is calm.
Yeah.
So that's very nice.
Well, I'm happy you're here. Wait, what Israeli music did you listen to growing up?
I really like Avishai Cohen, the jazz musician. I've been to so many concerts of him. There are some indie artists that I like.
You should come up to Pardes Chana. There's a great music scene.
Yeah, this is what I heard.
Oh yeah, I love it there. Yeah, every Thursday night I go out. That's like basically I work every day except Thursday nights. It's like the time off I take it. 9 p.m. onward, you can't reach me.
Cool.
So kind of back to your like founding your company. What is it like? So you reached back out to your boy. You couldn't get him over at Ren AI. Totally understandable. And then like when you go into like, how did you know this was an issue? This is what I always find fascinating. Like you're working at another company. It's not like you came out of the army and you saw this as a solution that maybe the government's using, the military's using, and how can I use this for the private sector? It's fresh ideas. Like where did it come up? Did it come from you, from him, when you were working?
I think the combination was just amazing because I came from the AI world. I had roots in cybersecurity, but more from the programming low-level aspect of it, like sort of like an endpoint aspect, which is not where we're at. So I came from the AI world. And during the time that I was at Run AI, my co-founder Ophir spent many years in the cybersecurity domain. He went to Microsoft Entra, which is in the identity security. Then he went to Orca Security, which is in the cloud native space. So he brought a lot of information about security, not only in terms of technology, but in terms of the market. What's happening at the moment. I came with the advancements of AI, what's probably possible now that wasn't possible a few years ago, right? So the combination of this led us to look for the right place to fit in, and also like the personal experience of Ophir, my co-founder, having to recertify access in Microsoft, not really understanding what's the effect of it. So we had our ideas, we just looked at it. We talked to a lot of like CISOs, security practitioners, people from the industry. We got hooked on the idea. We saw that every single meeting we go with a conviction, like more conviction, and that's it.
And so what are the biggest challenges you see you're having ahead? Like so many people are in the identity space. Do you ever worry like a bigger company in identity or identity access management or things like that might also step on your toes? Or
yeah, definitely. This is one of the risks. Like being in a very noisy domain, this is one of the challenges there. So first of all, I truly believe that the difference that we have within our product is significant. It's on us to keep proving it, right? But I don't see it's going to be easy for any existing company to do what we do. You can say that it's even a pivot for a large company to build an AI native product because they already have a working product that is pure software. They have their customers, they have their challenges, and they have their liabilities, right? So this is why startups work so great. This is a beautiful place and the right place to create innovation. Right?
So when software and AI, I mean, right? Israel's known for all of our software technology companies. One of our strengths for sure. Is there, because of how AI can help make software, let's say, so much cheaper and easier, and probably lowers the barrier to entry, do you think we're going to lose a competitive edge with AI in the software space as an ecosystem?
I don't think so.
What are the opportunities and what are the threats?
Because I think AI for software development, it's not replacing strong developers.
Right.
What I keep hearing, reading, and listening to, it's very clear that AI is sort of like polarizing. So it's much harder to get into software engineering because you are being compared to like an AI tool.
Right.
But there's no doubt that at least now an AI tool could not actually replace like the smartest people. And we were talking before about being founding engineers, right? So an engineer brings a lot more than coding to a company. Right? It's architecture, it's the right decision making, it's the culture, it's the processes, it's the assessment of what's important, what's less important. So I think this is what like senior engineers and stronger engineers bring to the table. And like from my experience, Israel is very unique, not only in the density of engineers, but more importantly in the density of very strong engineers. So this is why I don't think that as an ecosystem, we should be afraid of AI coding tools.
How would you differentiate a good engineer and a very strong engineer? I never heard anyone kind of
Like
talk about the quality of the engineers.
My mental model works very simply. I always think that less is more. You should do less, not more. I just recently heard once again the sentence that writing code is human, removing code is divine. Right. And I truly believe in that. And I'm not talking about the technical aspect of writing or eliminating code lines. I'm talking about like when you sit with a customer, you talk for like 45 minutes, right? But you can take one very like a single thing out of the conversation that if you were to provide it to your customer, they would be very much satisfied. And to build that, especially now with coding tools, with AI, you can build a very small, a very lean product that just touches the right thing, the direct pain of the customer, providing value there, and only then building empires on top of it, right? So I think a good engineer is the one that understands why he or she is being asked to do something, understands what we can do the shortest, in a very short time, not to create tech debt, in a very lean, in a very useful way.
It's fascinating. So, but then if you can do something with AI like that and do amazing, so aren't all software companies under potentially huge threat that they can have a new company come with much less funding, much less resources, not have it to divinely delete code, but from the beginning build it with AI and immediately quickly be able to compete with a company that's already, let's say, have tens of millions of dollars in funding?
Yeah, and this is what we are doing, right? So
you're that disruptor, but you ever work, but you know what they say, there's always a bigger fish. Is there always like another, you know what I mean? A smaller company, like another one, you always were like behind you in another 2 years.
Yeah, maybe, who knows? But this is exactly what we're doing to companies that have been in the identity space for 5 years, 7 years.
Right.
Because right now the differentiator is not the SaaS software that you write, because we use so many AI coding tools. Like our founding engineers, the strongest ones available, they use the coding tools to very quickly develop what other companies have been working on for 5 years.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, this is going to happen.
It's amazing. Like brand new technology companies 5 years ago were already disrupted so fast. I would think millenniums for other things. Yeah. It's unreal. I think of the software and the AI, like anyone can do it so rapidly. It feels so like, do you ever where it gets like commoditized? Well, like then what is the difference? Like what makes a good AI software company that even as it grows and adds a layer of code that it can differentiate itself, that other startups with money and great tech won't be able to take market share? How do you build a moat
Yeah.
when technology and AI is advancing so rapidly?
So first of all, you're right. Everything happens very, very fast. Satya is saying SaaS is dead, right?
Right.
Because just writing software is not enough.
Right.
And I always question myself, like, what's our moat? What's our intellectual property? Because it's not only the lines of code that we create.
Right.
So I spend so many hours listening to the great ones, like the Cursor team, other great companies. They did a beautiful interview with Lex Friedman,
Mm-hmm.
and they very openly and honestly shared and what's happening behind the scenes. And I think that if you were to listen to that podcast, trying to think how much effort they put behind the scenes for their product to be so simple, so fast, and provide very, very deep and strong value to the customers in that field is like writing the best code and finding the right bugs, right? You would understand where the moat is.
Right.
So the moat is in, I always say, I'm not building AI for security. I'm building an organization that builds AI for security. Because like in software, you have the software development lifecycle.
You're not building AI for security. You're building an organization for AI for security.
Exactly. Me personally.
Right. Yeah.
Like the company builds AI for security, but what I'm doing is creating an organization that will be able to build AI for companies because like...
Got it. So it's not even like a plug and play software as we know it, things of the sort are customized for you. It's building it from scratch for each and every customer.
Sorry, this is not what I meant. I meant like that today's companies, like the older ones, the ones that only write software, there's a certain way they behave and they work. There's certain people they hire, and there's certain processes within the organization that help them provide software to the companies, right? To their customers, sorry.
Yeah.
If you want to do the same thing with AI, you have to build a company in its DNA is built to build AI. So it's the processes within the companies, what you're focused on, who you hire, how you deliver features to your customers, how many hours a day you spend writing code versus how many hours a day you spend fine-graining your models, your prompts, the context engineering that you do. How do you test it? How do you make sure that every single day your customers get more and more value from the AI?
Amazing. So how is your technology changing in order to make sure you stay ahead? Like what do you guys do in order to make, because what kind of R&D, what kind of development work are you doing?
Yeah, that's a great point. So first of all, we always keep our ears open and eyes open. I read every single day about AI.
Where do you read?
I think I'm registered to like at least 5 newsletters that get to me in Substack.
Is there one you'd recommend for those that, let's say, would like to really learn and stay ahead for maybe they'll build a startup?
I can share it afterwards. I don't remember exactly the name, but every single one of them provides a different piece of AI information. One of them is more the technological aspect. One of them is in the business aspect. I just recommend you to go find the one that you like and just read. People are very good today at summarizing things into like 5 very simple sentences that provide you with what's happening in the world. And as you said, everything changes on a daily basis.
Right.
So we try to make sure that we are ahead of the curve and not only following the curve, right, in terms of the advancement of AI. The other thing is our R&D is solely focused on AI. So all the time, we use AI for coding. We use AI for writing our AI, essentially writing the prompts, writing the tools, writing the schemas. We have every mechanism for AI, starting from RAG, prompts, tools, as I mentioned before, every single thing. And we make sure that we spend most of the hours of the day working on that things. And we have monitoring capabilities that help us assess the depth and quality of our AI on our customers' data, like on real world data, not only synthetic data.
For the Israelis listening that want to learn and get into AI, where should they go? Because it seems like a lot of the technology comes from PhDs, less in the military, and those might be interested, sorry to be too late in the military. Or maybe let's say they're going to the military. What would you say, what unit should they focus on? And if they're already past that age, What would you recommend for those that want to get into AI?
So I'm talking to a lot of people in the AI industry here, and I think that there are two directions into getting into AI. You can come from the science aspect of AI. This is where the most of like the PhDs come from, right? The math aspect, classical machine learning, etc., algorithms, and you can work your way, we can say like in that direction, into how to actually run AI and not only understand how it works behind the scenes. And the other part is coming from being like an ML engineer, AI engineer, running LangChain code. Nowadays, you have so many no-code tools for AI. The one that I would recommend to start from is NA10. Definitely start with NA10. Build your first agent. Like send an email or send a WhatsApp message. Make your NA10 agent. Write some tools. Write the prompt, etc. Just get to know get the feeling of how a very simple AI works. I started with trying B2C AI products. One of them was called Relevance AI, an Australian startup. I tried myself a lot of AI tools to get the feeling of how AI should feel, and this is what we're implementing into our product today.
Fascinating. So where could we expect to see you and Fabrix in 5 years?
That's a very good question. So everything goes well. We're going to be a huge company. The market is huge. Palo Alto acquiring CyberArk just recently just emphasizes how much identity became one of the most centric thing in cybersecurity. We also keep hearing that people that focused on data security, the next questions are around identity and access management.
Right.
So you're going to see identity security all over the place. I think this is one of the reasons why there's so many startups in that field, right? Also, the space is huge. So we are only at the beginning. We're very excited to be able to talk openly with the world and share what we're building, get more and more traction, get more and more customers, provide them with value, save time and money for them. And right now we're focusing on only very few processes and use cases in identity because we're a small startup. Over time, I think Fabrix and AI in general could provide tons of value in every single aspect of identity security.
Amazing. Should we be excited, scared, or we won't even notice a difference?
Excited, definitely.
Awesome. Raz, thank you so much for being on IsraelTech.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
Awesome.